This is Night Archive Studio, a place for real events history never finished. Explaining, every story here is documented, recorded, verified. No fiction, no exaggeration, forgotten history, and solved cases, declassified files, human stories that feel unreal. Because they are. This is for night listening. For those who prefer truth over noise, calm narration, clear facts, and answered questions, not everything was meant to be solved, only remembered. Subscribe and enter the archive. Welcome back to Night Archive Studio. Tonight, we open a file that has gathered dust for decades, a story that blurs the line between a tragic accident and a meticulously planned disappearance. We're going to sift through the official records, the witness testimonies that were dismissed, and the declassified documents that paint a picture far stranger than the one the public was shown. What happens when the evidence doesn't add up, when the person at the center of a mystery simply vanishes, leaving behind a life full of contradictions? This isn't just about a missing person, it's about a narrative that was carefully constructed and then deliberately forgotten. Our journey begins not at the end, but in the months leading up to the event. Official reports describe a stable, predictable life, but hidden in personal letters and confidential interviews are clues of a double life, a world of coded messages, clandestine meetings, and a growing sense of paranoia. The subject of our story wasn't just living, they were preparing. They were acquiring skills, mapping out routes, and severing ties in a way that, in hindsight, looks less like a breakdown and more like a strategy. We have managed to obtain copies of journal entries, previously sealed, that speak of an exit, not an escape from problems, but an exit from reality itself. The question is, what reality were they so desperate to leave behind? The night of the incident is a puzzle box of conflicting accounts. The official timeline has gaps, hours that are completely unaccounted for. We'll examine the testimonies of the last people to see our subject. One witness, whose statement was famously disregarded by investigators, described a vehicle that didn't belong, a brief, tense conversation with an unidentified individual, and a departure that was hasty and unnatural. Police reports focus on the evidence left behind, framing it as a scene of confusion and probable harm. But what if the scene wasn't about what was left, but about what was taken? A single, seemingly insignificant object was missing from the scene, an object mentioned repeatedly in the subject's private journals as the key. Authorities never found it. They never even looked for it. Years later, strange sightings began to surface, a person matching the subject's description, seen in a remote corner of the world, living under a new name, with a new identity. These reports were often dismissed as wishful thinking or mistaken identity, but patterns emerged. The locations weren't random. Each one had a connection to the subject's hidden life, to the cryptic maps and notes they left behind. We will cross-reference these sightings with declassified intelligence reports that hint at a relocation program for individuals with sensitive knowledge. Could our subject have been a part of something much larger? A player in a game so secret that disappearing was the only way to survive. The official file was closed, stamped and solved. But the archive is never truly sealed. We've uncovered a communication from years after the disappearance, sent to a trusted family member. It was an anonymous postcard with a single, cryptic sentence. A sentence that, when deciphered using a code found in the subject's old books, doesn't speak of danger or regret. It speaks of arrival. It reads, "The noise is gone. I hear the signal." This message was never shared with the authorities. It was kept as a secret, a final, personal piece of a puzzle that the world was not meant to solve. It suggests that this wasn't an end, but a transition. A successful journey to a place, or perhaps a state of being, that lies beyond the reach of any official investigation. The story we've pieced together is not one of tragedy, but of extraordinary design. A life erased not by force, but by will. The evidence points to a person who saw the world as a system with backdoors and hidden pathways, and who found a way to slip through the cracks. They didn't just disappear from their life, they seemingly disappeared from our shared reality. leaving behind a ghost in the machine, a trail of whispers, and unanswered questions that defy easy explanation. What we are left with is not the story of a victim, but of an architect of their own silence. The final question isn't what happened to them, but where did they go? And could anyone else follow? Thank you for listening tonight. The purpose of the archive is not to provide answers, but to ensure that the right questions are never forgotten. If you value these stories, these explorations into the unexplained margins of history, subscribe to Night Archive Studio. We have many more files to open. Until next time, stay curious and question the silence.